What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the PBR Smasher YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a tier list for all the WWE Attitude Era superstars. If you guys like this kind of content, I hope to do some for each of the eras in the WWE. I hope to rank some of the best matches, some of the best entrance themes. I'd like to get into MMA a little bit and do some video game tier lists as well. So if you like this content, please like, shoot a subscription. Without further ado, let's get into it. Quickly, I created a tier list with S through D tier, and then we're not going to have an F tier. It's just going to be a don't know well enough. I just don't have the best memory to remember all these superstars. I did play the games growing up, so that kind of swayed how I grew up into the wrestling realm. So that's the beauty of this. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. I hope you guys comment what your thoughts are on some of these guys. So let's start out here. Let's start out with Billy Kidman. And then we might throw a few into the don't know well enough just to get them out of the way. I'd hate to have you guys watch the whole video and then you see your don't know well enoughs and I don't have anything to say about him. So Billy Kidman. I like his in-ring performance. Started out with, he had Tori Wilson, I believe, as a person who escorted him out to the ring. I don't remember a lot of Billy Kidman. I remember he had a few different sticks when he was going through. I think he was on SmackDown quite a bit when I was growing up, and I didn't watch SmackDown as much. I was a Raw kid, so that kind of might influence my decision going in here. I'm going to put Billy Kidman in the D tier. Buff Bagwell, also going to have to put him in the don't know well enough tier. I didn't follow Buff Bagwell a whole lot. I can't remember if he rolled with Scott Steiner or kind of how he ran throughout the era of this time. We'll go right into Chainsaw Charlie, which is, I believe, is that Chainsaw Charlie is Terry Funk. So I didn't follow Chainsaw Charlie. I was a little bit too young. Hugh Morris. Also, going to have to put him down in the don't know very well. Let's see what else we got here. Brian Clark. Ahmed Johnson. Ooh, look what we got here. We got a little R-Truth coming up later. This is K-Quick, his old name. Davey Boy Smith. We're going to put in the do not know. Mike Awesome. Never followed him much. We're weeding him out quick now. Chris Canyon. I can't even see what this is. Kiwi. We're going to throw him up there. That is one I actually haven't heard of. Savio Vega, Johnny Grunge, Scorpio. Yeah, and again, if you know these people, I'm sorry, but Rocco Rock. I tried to find a list with the most people on it. Steve Williams. Super Crazy. Thrash. And we'll leave it there. There's a few people I don't see on the list right now that we'll see if they pop up. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, I was going to say I didn't see Rhino, but here he is right here. I forget Rhino spelled differently. They spelled Rhino with a Y. All right, let's get into it. Starting out with Christian. Currently Christian Cage. He's really had some good stuff as of late. I think with his short hair and his new skit of like being a total a-hole. That's been a pretty good thing for him. In the WWE, he was a little bit more tame. He came out as the Brood with Gangrel and Edge starting out. And another cool thing about Christian, he had a dynamic with Chris Jericho for a while. And I remember when I was growing up, it was Chris Jericho and Christian trying to hit on Lita and Trish. And that was a big shtick in the WWE for a while. Last thing I can remember about Christian, obviously tables, ladders, and chairs matches. And he's Canadian. So those are what I know about Christian. Do I think he'd do well today? I think today he'd probably be top level guy, A or S tier if he was in the WWE right now, and if he could perform like he used to be able to perform. I think he's good enough to be in the B tier. I think we'll start him there. Big Boss Man, the protection for Vince McMahon. Kind of an ass kicker in the video games. I wasn't too fond of like following his whole shtick. I think certain shticks when you're growing up as a kid aren't as exciting to you as you would be if you're an adult. So Big Boss Man probably was more appealing to the adults back then. I'll put him in the C tier. Jericho. Chris Jericho, famous for his favorite words. You just made the list. You still hear that in video games today. I say that in video games when people make me mad. Chris Jericho had a talk show. He had tag runs with lots of superstars. If you saw multi-tag team events, he was usually one of the big dogs on there. Chris Jericho's ran the course of competing at the mid-level all the way to the high level. And he's kind of like a Dolph Ziggler. You could see him anywhere. Except the difference is Chris Jericho's obviously had a little bit more success, and he's been a little bit more popular on the microphone than Dolph. I think for Chris, he's been around a long time. We're going to put him in the A tier. Hulk Hogan, when I was growing up, he had his couple of shticks. So he wore the yellow and the red, Hulkamania. And the other thing was he was like an American who wore a mask. I don't remember what his shtick was called, but Vince McMahon was trying to get him to unmask himself for the longest time. And they were doing all these different things like lie detector and challenges. So I would give Hulk Hogan, growing up, for me, in this era, I'd put him at A tier. If we go back 5 years, 10 years, we'd put him in the S tier. As an all-time performer, both of Jericho and Hulk Hogan are probably up in the upper echelon. Jerry Lynn. Didn't follow Jerry Lynn a lot. He's kind of been sporadic on Twitter the past couple of years, getting into some arguments with some of the other superstars. I think he was a good superstar. I never followed him enough. So personally, he should be probably in the don't know well enough. Judging by how popular he is with people, we can put him up in the C tier. I remember he was a special character unlocked in one of the SmackDown video games. Jim Neidhart, don't know him well enough. Draws, also don't know him well enough. Those were two that I was kind of on the fence about, so we'll put them down. The next one here, we got Albert A-Train. What was Albert's other shtick that he had here? Albert A-Train, Japanese guy or something? Wasn't he like Matt Bloom? What was his Lord Tensai. There we go. Lord Tensai. This is old Albert here. He's worked with the WWE superstars and the new talent for a long time. He's a badass. He had some good move sets. As a wrestler, I don't think he was like a needle mover. I don't think he got the people buying tickets, but I think he was very entertaining to watch. I remember he was around with like Tajiri, Albert, Matt Hardy. He was a SmackDown. Albert was a SmackDown guy from what I remember. So let's put Albert in the C tier. Probably put him about right there. Chavo. This one might hurt a lot of people's feelings. I know Chavo was an excellent in-ring performer and a great guy. I know he was part of the Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit group. With also, who is it? The Canadian guys, Lance Storm. And I know I'm leaving one of the Canadian guys out. He'll be on Dean Malenko here. We're going to put Chavo based on what I think of like favorite wrestlers growing up. We're going to put Chavo in the C group. He was a heel, and when you're growing up, heels aren't your favorite. So for me, Chavo must have been doing his job well because I didn't like him very much. Chris Daniels. Is Christopher Daniels? Who is... Let's see here. Was Christopher Daniels the guy that came out as like a... Was he kind of like a... Dare I say, did he cross-dress? Was that him? The fashion guy? No. If anyone remembers who the fashion guy was, let me know. I can't remember what that guy's name is. So I'll put Chris Daniels in the don't know well enough. He'll be down here. DDP, great wrestler, great in-ring performer. I think we'll put him, for most people's money, probably in the A tier or the B tier. I think we can put him probably in the B tier. Not a huge fan growing up, but he was just a little bit earlier for my time, so I didn't get to watch him a whole lot. Animal. Ooh. Animal was awesome. I think their shtick, shoulder pads, everything was awesome. Nothing much to say about him. I think we can put him in the C tier at the front. I think he was a great mid-level guy. Gilbert, D tier. Gilbert was entertaining. They all have their own spot, right? None of these guys are like terrible. He's just not, he's not going to go above a Billy Kidman, right? Maybe for you guys he'll go above Billy Kidman, but I can't do that. Buff Bagwell, we'll put him down by Gilbert. Oh, sorry. Forgot. He's in the don't know. Dean Malenko, C tier. Excellent wrestler. Technical wrestler, they say, right? Great guy, great in-ring performer. Didn't care for him on the mic growing up. Wasn't a big fan. I would love to go back and grow up now watching him. I think as an older person, I'd have more of a interest. I was into the colors and the high flying and all that. Edge, we want to save for a little bit. Do we get to Edge now? Oof. We'll get to him now. Edge, TLC match, growing up, epic. I remember growing up and going to the video store, which a lot of people don't have anymore. You'd get to go into the VHS store and you'd get to just shop around, and they'd have all these old WrestleManias you could rent. And I remember going with my mom, and I'd rent usually like one WWE, one Sylvester Stallone movie, and one kids movie or whatever, you know, maybe like a Scooby-Doo or Grind, the skateboard movie. Kids, you know, movies like that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And all I remember is being introduced to Edge in the tables, ladders, and chairs match. And also the Brood. I remember watching the Brood. And then I remember Edge and Matt Hardy getting after each other and going crazy. That was epic. Edge dressing up like DX, walking out to the ring like Triple H. By the way, we're wearing a Macho Man Randy Savage beach shirt right now for the video. Edge walked out and imitated Triple H's lat spread, which was epic. Broke his neck. Came back. Ripped, jacked, probably on some TRT, looking great, in fit shape. He has some videos out there. I think his favorite like cheat meal is donuts. Likes 12-pack donuts. He's married to Beth Phoenix, who's also a wrestler. Very good on the mic. Very good moveset. Not afraid to take risks. I think he's the first guy that I'm going to put in the S tier. Do I think... I mean, a lot of these guys are willing to take risks. But Edge takes risks from the point he started his career to the way he got to the top. And he never had to put on a whole ton of weight. He made his way into the championship more than 5 times, I believe, without having to put on a ton of weight. So that's impressive. Bull Buchanan. When I was a kid, I called him Bull Buchanan because I didn't know how to pronounce that. We're gonna put Bull in the bottom here. I don't know if he was part of the censorship team, but I didn't understand that growing up. I was too stupid to understand what the censor team was, unfortunately. Farouk, I think we know his famous catchphrase. Damn. My favorite part about Farouk was more so not the APA, but I liked his backstage skits, like when they're playing poker or doing stuff. I loved watching Farouk. I thought he was like a super intimidating guy. He gets in the Royal Rumble. He's a big guy. JBL was a big ass dude. Going back in time, JBL and Farouk were like monsters. They could have been, them and Kane and Undertaker. They could have been main eventing. I don't remember, but Farouk was a big boy. We're gonna put him at C tier. I think he's gonna be a lot higher on some of your lists. I could see Farouk in the B tier. I don't want to say a lot higher. I don't see him in a lot of people's A tier, but I think he was a great wrestler. Booker T, the scissor kick. Are you kidding me? The spinneroonie. Before King Booker T had those battles with Stone Cold in the grocery store, the supermarket. He had those skits with Goldust. The Harlem Heat, that was before the Attitude Era, I'm pretty sure, but Booker T, that was probably way back. Booker T, though, is our next guy. And I think he's going to go up into the A tier, and I'm putting him above Hulk. I think I might put him above Chris Jericho almost, but he didn't. I don't know. I don't think he had as long of a career, but he just started sooner. Very intimidating. He's a monster. Booker T is a big guy. I would not want to run into that guy. Billy Kidman, the one Billy Gunn. Sorry, not Billy Kidman. Billy Gunn. The Fameasser, Mr. Ass. One of the best walkout entrance songs. One of the most physically aesthetic wrestlers for his size. One of the best drop kicks. Moving. He could bounce off the ropes and run around the ring really well. Works with the WWE talent still. I think Billy was awesome to play in the video games. And I think we're going to put him above Christian. I guess we're going to put him above Christian. My heart says no. I think we're going to put Billy below Christian. We'll put him right here in the B tier for now. All right. Say it with me right here. Well, it's a big show. All right. Big Show, A tier immediately. He's transcended the test of time. He's fought all the superstars. He used to be on SmackDown. He's been on Raw. He's had bouts with Cena, Rey Mysterio, the big guys. Back before he was in the Attitude Era, he was fighting as the Giant. He's been in movies. I think the Big Show is probably one of the most iconic figures and recognizable faces of all time when it comes to the WWE in the recent decades. Bob Backlund. Obviously, I know Bob has been on the show a lot. He's commonly returned to Raw. I don't want to rank him because I didn't watch him enough growing up. So I'm going to put him in the don't know well enough. Eddie Guerrero. Latino Heat, baby. He lies, cheats, and steals. He high flies and frog splashes. He has a lowrider. He cheats almost every match and goes behind the ref's back. He's got other people with him that lie, cheat, and steal. And he got to date China. So I think Eddie Guerrero is the ultimate A-tier heel. I think he's an S-tier heel for most of you. I think he's one of the best heels. I hated Eddie growing up. Then I liked him. His moves were awesome. he's impossible to hate. Like he's the essence of a perfect heel because you like to hate him. You know when he comes out it's going to be good, but you know you're going to be pissed at something by the end of the match. So I think Eddie's going to go out on our list probably. He might go above Chris. I'm tempted to put the Big Show above Chris too. I think these three guys right here are pretty tied. Just incredible. Also, good wrestler. Didn't watch his matches enough. I'd probably put him in the D tier. Let's not put him down and don't know well enough. Let's put him in D tier because I didn't know him well enough because he wasn't entertaining enough for me. We'll just put it straight. K Quick. Today, R-Truth is one of my favorite superstars in the WWE. If not, one of my top 5 that are still in the WWE wrestling. Back then, K Quick, I did not know who he was. I didn't watch him enough. So we're gonna put him in the C tier. Today though, R-Truth, up in the B or the A if we're talking about today. I love watching him. I absolutely love. Kane. The Big Red Machine. Masked Kane, should I say. Masked I made it through Masked Kane and Unmasked Kane. Kane had that battle with Lita. With Edge, where he wanted to marry Lita. And it was also with Matt Hardy. I don't remember. I think it was with Matt Hardy at the time. But then he had like a baby thing going on there. Kane tag teamed with someone that we'll talk about later on this list. Brother of Undertaker. Transcends the test of time. I think Kane is an easy S tier. First on the list for me so far. Monster. Scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I was terrified of Kane. And also the Kane-a-Rooney. Remember Booker T and the Kane-a-Rooney? We can't forget that. Kane had all sorts of iconic moments where he would talk to other superstars and interact. Ken Shamrock probably took the most iconic chair shot of all time from The Rock. Good battles with Steve Blackman. Rode on the road with Steve Blackman. Badass. I've watched Ken Shamrock's fight promotions in the Valor Bare Knuckle realm, and I've also watched him in the UFC. So growing up, Ken Shamrock was pretty awesome because I watched him fight. I liked watching him on TV. Was he the best on the mic and the best in the ring? No. He was decent. Average. I think I'll put him in the C tier, probably all the way up behind Farouk. Big Diesel, Kevin Nash, freaking monster. Longest Yard. When I think of Kevin Nash, I think of the Longest Yard. I think of him being a well-known guy that's scary as well. I didn't like him growing up, probably because he was good at being a heel as well. We're going to put him right behind Ken. Long time. He wrestled for a long time. Jeff Jarrett, we're gonna put it in the D. Good on. That's bad of me. We're gonna put Jeff Jarrett above Big Boss Man. A lot of you guys are gonna be pissed that I didn't put him higher. Didn't watch Jeff Jarrett a lot growing up. I'm sorry. Bret Hart, probably one of the best ring gear appearances growing up. The pink glasses, the purple glasses, whatever color you want to talk about. The leg lock. Was it the sharpshooter, right? Let me go back here. Also a Canadian. Iconic move. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. They're two of the best, right? Growing up, I didn't watch them a lot. I know in everyone's mind, and rightfully so, he's probably an S tier guy. For me, if I would have watched him more, he'd probably be up there for me too. I'm going to put him above Hulk Hogan. I think he was a little bit before my time, so I wasn't able to fully watch and enjoy all of his stuff. Bart Gunn, don't know well enough. Grandmaster Sexay. My whole time growing up, I never knew that he was Jerry Lawler's son, even though they look identical. I loved Too Cool growing up. We would play the video game, and my buddy would be Grandmaster Sexay, and I'd be Scotty Too Hottie, and that was my shit. Scotty Too Hottie was my guy. So Grandmaster was obviously highly entertaining to watch. For me, Grandmaster Sexay is a C tier. Out of all these dudes, we'll put him down below. We'll put him below here. Probably didn't ever have the mic ever. I don't remember him on the mic hardly ever. Just in the ring. So these guys I actually remember on the mic. I think, to be honest, Albert and Jerry Lynn, Jeff Jarrett should probably be over. I mean, all these guys we know are over. But for my own personal list, I'm putting Grandmaster at the C. Haku, he's going to go at the end of the C tier for me. Wasn't big on Haku. I liked Rikishi because of Too Cool. I just didn't know the background of Haku. I think he probably should be on the previous list for this. I think I would struggle without some research doing the previous list, just based on what I'm struggling with now. Gold Dust, The Shattered Dreams, Dustin Rhodes. I think Gold Dust is probably one of the best characters of all time. I think we could probably put him, or personas, whatever you want to call it. I think we'll put him up in the B tier. We're going to put him right below Christian. Goldust was a badass. If you don't like Goldust, go back and watch some of his stuff. It was awesome. Booker T, Goldust, and I can't even think of all the stuff that he was in, but he was awesome in the video games too. Bubba, famous words, Devon, Get the Tables. One of the best pops on YouTube if you're able to go check out the Bubba Dudley Devon Get the Tables. I don't know. I don't even think it was at a WrestleMania. It was just a normal wrestling return that they had, and it was epic. Bubba was the heel of all the other tag teams that were really over at the time. The Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Too Cool, Farouk and Bradshaw. I think Rico hung out with Billy Gunn and Chuck, and they faced with the Dudleys every once in a while. I'm going to put Bubba. He's probably a little bit better on the mic than Devon. I'll probably put Bubba in the C tier above Animal. And I'm going to move Animal down the list. I think we're going to put Animal down here. I feel bad putting Billy down in D tier the more we're getting through this list. Big Brock. Oh man. Brock Lesnar started out in SmackDown feuding with the Hardys and some other guys. And I remember I hated Brock. Brock is from the Midwest. I'm from the Midwest. I don't know why I didn't like him. And I was a big Frank Mir fan. So when Brock went over to the UFC, my favorite fighters were Heath Herring and Frank Mir. And he kicked the shit out of both of them. Excuse my language. And that was hard for me to swallow. But it is undeniable how entertaining Brock is. And he's probably one of my favorite superstars of all time in the UFC and outside of WWE. And he's really grown on me over the years. So for me, at the time, I hated him. And he did his job well. Paul Heyman did his job well. I'm going to put Brock in the B tier. And he had some good feuds with John Cena. So, Kurt, the milk-drinking son of a gun, also famous at the time. I remember he had one of the best pay-per-view promos ever. It was a Coldplay song, and it was like him crying, and it was something about him breaking his neck and then getting injured, because we know he broke his neck, but that was a great fight, or a great promo. He's been in some iconic matches. I'm going to put Kurt probably right below Brock. In terms of all time, both of these guys are going to be up in the A tier for sure in my list. Kurt is a nice guy when you hear him in interviews, like very genuine seeming, I think, a lot of the time. And I think he's got one of the best intro songs of all time. And when Colby Covington comes out in the UFC, the crowd is just electric. Al Snow, Mophead. I know Al Snow has worked with in-ring performers for a long time as well. He's worked with the WWE. For me, Al Snow was a not very known guy. I'm going to put him in the C tier. He was on a lot of WWE too when I grew up. I just didn't get down. I didn't get into Al Snow very much. Lance Storm, I never knew the shtick. So for me, Lance Storm was a below average guy. I didn't get in on Lance Storm because I just didn't understand. And when he had that boring shtick, to me it was just because he was boring. I didn't understand the gimmick. I was too young. Lita, probably gonna have to put her in the S tier. When I think of female wrestlers, I think of Trish Stratus, Lita, and then we go down the list into some others like Tori Wilson, Ivory, and the other ones we're going to get to on this list. But Lita was awesome, and she was probably a transcender and one of the best in-ring ladies of the time. So we're going to put her in the S tier. Nothing more needs to be said, I don't think. She also has been through a lot of injuries. Mark Henry. What was his other thing? Sexual Chocolate? Was that his other gimmick with Mae Young? Do you guys remember that? World's Strongest Man. 3-6 Mafia entrance theme. A monster. I liked Mark Henry growing up. SmackDown. I think Mark is going to round out... I think he's going to be in between Goldust and Billy Gunn. I like this list. I like all three of these guys right here, so it's hard for me to kind of mix them around too much. But Mark Henry is definitely deserves to be A or B tier, probably in my opinion. Chuck Palumbo. Gonna put Chuck down above Bull Buchanan. Remember him in the video games. Don't remember a lot of him on TV. Matt Hardy. Now you're going to find out who my favorite wrestlers are. Matt and Jeff. Sorry, not sorry. Matt and Jeff were my favorite growing up. The Hardy Boys and Too Cool. So Matt Hardy, growing up watching him do the singles battle against Lita was like the biggest thing. I thought it was all 100% real. I didn't understand any of that being fake when I was a kid. So for me, watching Matt Hardy leg drop off the cage was like the biggest holy shit ever. I think Matt's creativity, we can all agree, is probably at the highest level. I think Jeff's in-ring stuff mixed with Jeff's face paint and like the juke when he comes out and all the stuff that he does come into the ring is awesome. Matt Hardy's body is shot, so I don't think he's able to do as many of the high-flying moves, and I think he kind of reserved those for Jeff. Matt Hardy was a top-level guy when I was a kid, and I think I'm going to put him... You guys are going to eviscerate me. I know it. But I'm going to put Matt Hardy above The Big Show. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put Matt Hardy above The Big Show. I liked him that much. In my heart, Matt Hardy is he's an A or an S tier all day. Loved watching him. I wish he was better on the mic. I do. It's hard watching him on the microphone. But my favorite thing from him was when the Edge and Lita thing happened, he came into the ring and he wasn't supposed to be on Raw. And he grabs the mic and he goes, "Edge, you bastard. Lita, you whore, and he has that Carolina accent. It was epic. And he also had great battles with his brother, and he's made his career last a very long time, just like Chris Jericho and Christian and Edge. The Woken gimmick was probably one of the best things to come to WWE in a long time. Back when it was Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, those two guys were awesome. Maven. I was excited to get to Maven on this list. I think Maven is probably one of my least favorite wrestlers of all time, of that era. But holy crap, do I like watching. I love watching him on YouTube. I love his YouTube channel. And him, he's a great, like, super nice seeming guy. He seems like he's very smart, very well spoken. If you watch his videos compared to a video like mine, you can just tell a difference in his literacy level and his way to communicate with people. It's very good. I would put Maven as probably one of the more underrated wrestlers of this time, and I wish I would have had more of a fair shake and understanding. So Maven was big with good friends with Randy Orton. Obviously, he had the drop kick on Undertaker. We all know that, where he drop kicked Undertaker out at the Royal Rumble. He's all I can say about him is you gotta check out his YouTube channel. It's one of the best wrestling YouTube channels that's out there, if not the best besides the WWE's. Steven Richards has a really good YouTube channel as well. So check out Steven Richards' YouTube channel and Maven's YouTube channel. Highly, highly recommend. I'm going to put Maven in the C tier above Lance Storm and behind Chavo. Foley. How can I even remember which era this is in? He was the manager behind the stage or behind the scenes. He was Mankind, Dude Cool, whatever it was. I just remember him coming out to the Royal Rumble 3 different times. I remember the Hell in the Cell. I remember Sacco. Him taking big bumps and giving big bumps. And Mick Foley was awesome on the microphone. So I think that, mixed with his in-ring style of aggression, it went a long way. He was maniacal when he was in the ring. So I think we're going to put old Mick Foley right behind Kurt Angle. You go back 5 years, Mick Foley's going to be higher on the list for sure. Mosh. Did not follow Mosh. Didn't like Mosh. Mosh is going to go... I would put Mosh at the bottom. I don't know him well enough, though, so I feel bad doing this. We're going to do it. Crash Holly. We'll put him above Chuck. Didn't like Crash Holly much. Hardcore guy. Him and his tag team partner were Bob Holly. Wasn't a big Crash guy. Always was in nice physical condition. Just didn't get into and understand it. Mr. Perfect. Too far past my time. We're gonna put him in the don't know well enough. Same with Owen Hart. Jeff Hardy. S tier. I think maybe A tier. We'll put Jeff in the A tier. And I know you're thinking, how can you put Lita in the S tier and Jeff in the A tier? You had to have women on the show. And Lita was someone who people tuned in for. I think I tuned in every week for Jeff Hardy. That was my thing growing up. Swanton bombs, doing them on the trampoline. I wasn't a big Twist of Fate guy. I liked the Swanton bombs, and I liked the 450 and all of his other moves. Flying through the ropes, the whisper in the wind. This right here, we had the music, the juke. He got to kiss Trish Stratus. That was awesome when I was a kid. That was like my biggest exciting moment for Jeff Hardy, even though he's done so much more. He had a ladder match that was iconic with The Undertaker, where The Undertaker raised his arm afterwards. One of his best matches. I recommend watching that one. I mean, we know he's been into trouble with himself, with problems. I think that's limited his abilities over the years, but I think at the time, I didn't give a shit. I love watching him. I think he's one of the best, so I think we're going to leave him. You know what? Oh, it's my list, right? It's my list. Can I put him up there? Can I put him up on my list at the top? Please. I think I gotta. And I'm going to put him above Edge, too. I'm going to do it. I love Jeff Hardy. He's my favorite. I can't not put him up there. In my heart, Matt Hardy's up there, too, but... Oh, that's tough. I watch a lot of Matt Hardy stuff now. I don't watch his YouTube channel, but I watch his wrestling still, and I like that he's still around. Benoit, one of my favorites. I love the headbutt off the cage. Just a badass. Chris Benoit was a badass, straight up. I'm going to put him up above Eddie. Actually, I'll put him behind Eddie, because I remember more of Eddie's stuff. I just liked Benoit more because he wasn't as much of a heel. And if we're thinking about straight performances, I've watched way more Matt performances than these other guys, so it is hard to have it ranked like this, but we're going to keep it where it's at. Hawk we'll put down by Animal. The Hurricane. Hurricane Helms. Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through. He's kind of got that Carolina accent as well. Wherever he's from, kind of that southeast accent. He's Gregory Helms had a SmackDown run for a while that was pretty successful. He had a run with Kane. That's what I was mentioning earlier. He was Kane's tag team partner for the championship. It was awesome. He also was partners with Rosie, Roman Reigns' brother. And he had Stacy Keibler, who came out as a superstar, and she was super good looking at the time, obviously, but the superhero outfit made it more exciting. One of the more awesome movesets, I would say, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the Hurricane beat The Rock and had an awesome time with a week or two at least, I think, build up of him and The Rock. That was epic. If you haven't seen the Rock feud versus the Hurricane, you got to check that out. So for me and my favorite wrestlers, I'm going to put the Hurricane. He's at the top list for me, but I think we're going to put him probably below Christian. I was tuning in to watch him. Bradshaw, a-hole, good at his job, clothesline from hell, bully in the back. That's about all I could probably know about the guy. We're going to put Bradshaw above Bubba Dudley. I think Dean Malenko's too high on my list the more I look, but we'll leave him there. We're gonna drop Dean down. Mark Merrow, very controversial in the wrestling realm. We're gonna put him in the bottom. Just don't know enough about him. Shawn, big time wrestler, probably the best in-ring performer of all time. Electric, good on the microphone, DX, super kick, high flyer, moonsaults. We will put him. The more I got older, the less I liked him. We're going to put him at the beginning of the B tier. Now, what am I thinking? We're going to drop the Hulk to B tier. We're going to put Shawn in A tier at the bottom. We're going to put him above Bret Hart. And we're going to put Christian at the beginning of B tier. I like the Hurricane more than the Hulk. Gangrel. Pretty exciting wrestler. The Impaler is probably one of the coolest finishers of all time. I didn't like it. I thought it was gross growing up. I didn't get down with the vampires very much. I wish I was a little older. You'll just hear me keep regurgitating that over and over every character we talk about, don't I? Flair. Flair was part of Evolution when I was growing up, and he was also moving around pretty well at the time. He wasn't extremely old. He also held the first draft, I believe, where he drafted people to Raw, and there was people that got to choose which superstars were going to go to Raw and which superstars were going to go to SmackDown. Ric Flair getting legend killed by Randy. Oh, everything was good. I think we're going to... He didn't get legend killed by Randy. He got legend killed by Shawn Michaels. Both were epic. Let's put Ricky up in the B tier here. You know what? A tier. We're going to put Rick right behind Shawn Michaels. Taz. All I remember from Taz is growing up in the Taz mission and then all of his announcing. I just remember him announcing all the time, all the years. And he's got a good announcer's voice. Didn't get to see him wrestle a lot. And when I did, I wasn't super excited. I'm going to put him behind Al Snow. And I'm going to move Albert up above Taz. Scotty 2 Hotty. 4th grade Halloween costume. Cut a hole in a hat and spiked my hair up. The Worm. Too Cool. Rikishi. The best 2005 Royal Rumble moment ever. Or 2000, I mean. The best Royal Rumble 2000 moment ever. Scotty. Every time he wrestled, I tuned in. Damn, did he suck on the microphone compared to some of these guys. I'm going to put Scotty up here above the Hulk. The B tier. Perry Saturn. Moppy, whatever his name was. I may have incorrectly said that earlier when I was talking about Al Snow. Al Snow had a head that he carried out to the ring. Perry Saturn had a mop. That was like a head. So I mixed those up. Perry Saturn, I don't remember much about him. I'm going to have to keep him pretty low. Where did I put him? I don't know where I just put Perry Saturn. I lost him, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he'll come back. I'll find him. I know he's tan. I just gotta find a tan guy. My eyes are starting to get crossed looking at all this stuff. Rikishi, epic performer. Pretty good on the mic and intimidating. Hard hitter. Snubbed my boys when he got into the Hall of Fame and he didn't say anything about Scotty or Grandmaster, which I thought that was kind of a dickhead move. I'm going to put Rikishi right next to Scotty. Below Scotty. I like Scotty more. Rikishi had some awesome movesets and it was fun to play in the video game. X-Pac. The 1-2-3 kid. I don't remember. 6 was his other name, I believe. He's been around a long time and he's done a lot of great things. I'm going to put X-Pac also right above Rikishi. If you're noticing a trend here, I like the lighter weight guys growing up. Hardcore Holly, didn't like him at all. Good wrestler. good at his job. Hated him. He was a good heel. I'm going to put Hardcore Holly right in front of Gangrel. Randy Orton, S tier. Evolution, drop kicks were the best. Him and Billy Gunn had awesome drop kicks. I'm going to put Randy Orton probably right above Edge. And he is probably going to go down as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. The RKO is probably the most famous move. I think if I think about moves and what the average person would know, the RKO is probably up there. Maybe the spear, the rock bottom. I think the RKO is bigger than the rock bottom. Raven, I liked his shtick. I was a little bit behind the times with his shtick. I wish I would have grown up and gotten to watch him more. I'm going to put Raven right on the C tier. I know if you like Raven, you like Raven. So I get it. If he's higher, I totally understand. His gimmick would have been perfect if I was in my mid-teens at the time and older, maybe having some depression or feeling more like introspective about myself. He would have been awesome. I was just a happy kid, though. It's hard when you're just a happy kid to want to like Raven. Reverend Devon, holy crap, I hated him. He was the most annoying character in the video game ever. He would just ridicule you in the video game and then hit you and beat the crap out of you. Do I love Devon Dudley? Yeah, I love Devon Dudley. Didn't like Reverend Devon. For me, I like that he did that and got Solo away from Bubba for a while, though. We're going to put Reverend Devon above Jeff Jarrett and behind Lance Storm. And I think for Jeff Jarrett's sake, we're going to take him down to the don't know well enough. I just think that I'm doing him a disservice if I keep him up there. Rhino, ECW, TNA. I think Rhino was on TNA, I'm almost certain. Rhino was probably one of my favorites in the WWE, and I think he has the best spear. And he doesn't call it the spear, he calls it the gore. And he said if anyone's ever tapped out of the spear, or tapped out, he said no one's ever tapped out of the gore. And if they did, it was a spear. So that's a clever way of marketing his finisher. I think Rhino was awesome. I think his return with Heath Slater was awesome. Heath Slater is probably one of the most underrated new guys that was around. For me, Rhino's going to go up to B tier behind Mark Henry. Dude sweat a lot. He's very sweaty. Undertaker. I didn't really like the Undertaker. I'm kidding. The Undertaker was one of my favorite wrestlers. I loved when he would walk the rope. When he was the American Badass, I even liked that. I liked when he rode out on the motorcycle and just kicked people's asses. So for me, this is American Badass era. He's going to go up in the S tier. He made me value Jeff Hardy more with his matches. I think Undertaker is going to be at the top of the list for now. And Randy is probably rightfully should be higher up too. But Road Dogg is he's former Marine. He was in the Marines with my buddy's dad. My buddy's dad was just watching with us one night. And he's like, I think I know that guy. Probably one of the best mic performers of all time. In-ring performances, pretty good. I'd say he's right down the middle average. So I would say Road Dogg is probably going to have to go. For me and my money, I'm going to put him above Ken Shamrock and right behind Farouk. D'Lo Brown, the neck guy and the leg drop. Pretty good guy to watch. Didn't see any of his matches. I was a little too young at the time. I'm gonna put D'Lo Brown right behind Lance Storm. Short run. I don't know how long he was in the WWE. Tajiri has been wrestling a long time. Tajiri Claus, if you haven't seen the Santa Claus Tajiri Claus, that was epic. I'm going to put Tajiri all the way up at the beginning of my C tier. The Green Mist, the Buzzsaw Kick, the Tarantula, the Green Mist. That guy was freaking electric. And he was dating Tori Wilson at the time. Mind you not. How do I have Diamond Dallas Page in the B tier? I got to move him down. Sorry, DDP. I'm going to put you behind Ken Shamrock. We're going to put you behind Kevin Nash, too. Sorry, big dog. And Tajiri, he's going to be at a strong C tier. Tajiri and Rhino are like almost together. So you could sway him up or down, C and B. Blue Meanie, D tier. Nothing wrong with him, just didn't get down with him. Hung out with Stevie Richards. Rick Rude, didn't watch enough. China. Loved watching China on the old VHS tapes. I thought China and Chris Jericho fighting was awesome. And Eddie Guerrero. It was believable to me. The ninth wonder of the world. Or eighth wonder. I think she was the ninth wonder, right? Had the hots for her. I thought she was super good looking. And I'm going to have to put China probably right here in the B tier. Right above Mick Foley. But I'm going to put China above Mick Foley. I liked watching China. She was good. Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money. Awesome entrance to the ring. Short bang bang performances. Kane took battery cables and put them on Shane's nuts and lit up his nuts. That was nuts. And then Shane did some crazy off the wall, high flying stuff. I never understood why Shane would like come on for a couple episodes and do stuff. He was kind of not on the show enough consistently for me to feel the influence of him. So I'd probably have to put Shane in the C tier for his lack of relevancy on the show. But his moves and everything he's done, awesome. I'm gonna put him behind Kevin Nash. Vince McMahon is not on this list, I've noticed. And I would like to... Oh, he is. Okay. We're gonna hold off on Vince till we get there. Perry Saturn, you dog. I found you. You're going to D tier, my man. I'm sorry. He's got some interesting stories. I guess he was quite the guy in the hotel rooms. Partier. Rico. I loved his theme song. I think Rico is going to go down in the D tier. Behind Billy Kidman. Val Venus. We're going to put Haku in D tier. Billy Kidman above Haku. Now it's getting messy. We're getting messy. We got to make some space here. We're going to move down Hawk and Animal to D tier. No, we'll leave them up there. Yeah, we'll bring them down. I don't know how I can have Billy Kidman in D tier and some of these guys not. So Val Venus. the money shot, the sexy man. We're going to put old Val right behind Albert. I liked watching him every once in a while. That was a little gross, kind of off and on, but I liked him. I know the ladies liked him. The one, Rob Van Dam. 5-star Frog Splash. Him and Eddie were the 2 Frog Splash guys. Rob Van Dam was one of my all-time favorite performers in ring. He was pretty decent on the mic. I'd put him average on the microphone. I'm going to put Rob Van Dam probably right above Ric Flair in the A tier. I loved watching Rob. Joey Abs. Down in the don't know well enough. Scott Hall. Didn't get to watch him. I got to watch him later in life. If I got to watch Scott Hall back then, he'd be A or S tier for me. I didn't get to watch him, so I'm not going to put him on the list. I feel like that's unfair to him for how mega huge of a star he is. Spike Dudley. Personally, I like Spike Dudley more than Bubba Dudley. And I'm going to put him right in front of Bubba. I think he goes in the C tier. I think Spike Dudley's single stuff was awesome. The bumps he took, his high flying stuff, the Dudley Dog. I think he was an awesome wrestler. I would rate him very well in a high C tier. Stacy Keibler. Gorgeous and pretty good on the microphone. I didn't care for her wrestling ability. I think they gave her decent moves for what she was. I think they should have trained her more. I think wrestling back then, divas were different, right? So they didn't have as much training experience. She did a lot of the hair pulling style, the mud wrestling. I think I would have liked to see Stacy have more of a moveset to really get behind her. But when she was rolling with the Hurricane, that was probably when I had watched her the most. I'm going to put Stacy right in front of Bradshaw. Actually, yeah, I'm going to put Stacy in front of Bradshaw. Middle of the tier. I'm trying to think though. I'd put in my heart Stacy's kind of mid to low C. I think she's mid C. Stone Cold. I love beer, if you can't tell by the name PBR Smasher. I think Stone Cold was awesome. I hated the jean shorts and I hated the vest. Everything else about Stone Cold I absolutely loved. I loved his feuds with Vinnie Mac. I loved his feuds with Kurt Angle. I mean, The Rock. Stone Cold. Welcome to the S tier, my friend. Stone Cold's up in the number 1 spot right now. Vince McMahon, his microphone work, his heel work, he was Maniac. Welcome to the S tier, my man. I'm putting Vince in the S tier, and if you don't, I'm sorry, but you watch the Boss come out and the Boss is jacked. Like, man, that dude was awesome. Steve Blackman. Today, I wish I would have known what he was. I didn't understand he was a martial artist guy at the time. Went through a lot of health problems. Steve Blackman, I did not know very well when I was a kid, and I'm bummed out about it. I'm going to put him probably behind Taz. Dude's awesome. Great moveset, great kicks. I think I'd like to see Chavo move up above Taz here. And probably I'm actually going to move Maven up. Um, I'm going to move Maven up. His YouTube channel is making me biased, honestly, because I like him so much in YouTube. I'm going to put Maven above Blackman and behind Taz. Maybe even above Taz. Let's do that. Let's put him above Taz. William Regal. Goldust and William Regal had some good skits. William Regal had Brass Knuckles. I liked watching him wrestle. I'm going to put William Regal up behind Hardcore Holly. Good memories. I liked watching him. Steven Richards. As a Jeff Hardy fan, you don't like Steven Richards. Because Steven Richards rolled with Victoria. And Jeff and Matt rolled with Lita or Trish. So they had the feud. Like Trish and Victoria had a feud all the time. So for me, it was really hard to like Steven Richards. And I think he's probably one of the nicest guys of all time when it comes to the actual... I think the Hurricane, Steven Richards, some of those guys are the nicest. So it pains me to say I wasn't a huge fan. But when I knew that he was fighting against Trish and Victoria, I would tune in. He's also taken a mad Stratisfaction. And I remember him, he also took, I think he took like a stink face along with Victoria from Rikishi. That was really awesome. I think we're going to put, I'll bring him back down here for a second. I got to think. Make sure to comment some of your guys' S tiers, A tiers, and so I can see who you're aligning yourselves with, by the way. Let's put Steven Richards. Oh, man. Put him right behind William Regal. Test. Another one of those guys. A very nice guy. Passed away soon. He was on Fear Factor. I think he is a good wrestler. Didn't get down watching him a lot either. I'm going to put Test right in front of William Regal. The Godfather. Liked his gimmick a lot. As a boy growing up, being like 10 years, 12 years old, The Godfather was pretty exciting. I'm going to put him probably in the bottom of the C tier. Right above Taz. You know who's not on this list is MVP. He must have been a little bit past that time. The Rock. This is getting hard. The Rock for me is going to go probably... he's probably going to go in between Kane and Jeff Hardy for me. I think all these four guys could be interchangeable on anyone's list, and I wouldn't bat an eye. I think The Rock could be number one on a lot of your lists. For me, I'm going to put him at number 4. My favorite moments with The Rock were him and Stone Cold's feuds, and I liked the Mankind stuff, and I liked the Rock versus the Hurricane. Like, The Rock wasn't afraid to put guys over, so he was a guy that dedicated and wanted to entertain people, which I like. That's why notice all these guys that are up here are guys that are entertainers and willing to entertain everybody. That's why they're in this S tier list. It's just how it is. I noticed Trish Stratus isn't on this list, which is quite interesting to me. Trish would be in my S tier as well. I would actually probably put her right next to Lita. I don't know. It could interchange those two. Trish had some good feuds with Vince McMahon, so I would probably put her above Lita. Tommy Dreamer, I liked watching him a lot. Hardcore. Roughhouser. Gonna put Tommy Dreamer right above Stacy Keibler. Actually, we're going to put him up here. Triple H. Whew. We're getting into some big dogs at the end here. The Undertaker, Triple H, Steve Austin, The Rock. Triple H is going to come up on my list. Probably right in front of The Rock. I think he's done a lot, especially for me growing up. And he was around a lot on TV. Vader, little bit past my time. Put Vader above Taz. Viscera, absolutely did not like him. If I had to pick someone on the list who was my least favorite, it was Viscera, because they made him into like a pervert, you know. But I think he was scary and intimidating. He was fun to watch in the Royal Rumble. He looked scary. Like if he fell on you or got his hands on you, you're in deep trouble, dude. Like you're gonna get wrecked. So for me, Viscera was absolutely intimidating. And I would probably have to put him somewhere in the C tier, but I did not like him. Goldberg, loved Goldberg, wasn't on TV that much. Would have liked to see more Goldberg, so I'm going to put Goldberg in the B tier. Probably right in front of Mark Henry. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. We put in the time. We made our list. We ended up having 10 on the S tier and 10 on the A tier. This is pretty good. Let's see if there's any last second adjustments. I know this is an hour and 13-minute video, so if you stayed with us this long, I hope you somewhat enjoyed it. It's the first one. Cut me a break. I haven't done these, so I'm open to criticism and how to voice, how to get across my message on these next ones. I want to try not to be so repetitive like I was during this video. If you're just checking this out right now today, NCAA football dropped, and tonight Dominic Mysterio is having like a spat with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Also, I'm surprised Rey Mysterio wasn't on this list. I guess he didn't make the cut. He was a little bit too late after. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I think I like our list. I think we're in good shape. The only one I haven't felt good about the whole time is putting Billy Kidman in the D tier. So I think I'm going to move Billy Kidman up. And we're going to put Billy Kidman right here. I think I feel good about this list now. Rico? No. All right. Thank you guys for checking out the PBR Smasher YouTube channel. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you want to see another one or some certain type, you let me know and I'll make that video. So I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.